All right, this is 12.2. You guys can go ahead and do this warm-up on your own, so just pause it and do the warm-up. You're finding the mean, the median, the mode, and the range. Don't worry about you don't have to worry about making a dot plot. Just do those 4 things, and then we'll move on. We are going to do histograms today, so frequency histograms. Histograms look a lot like bar graphs, except their bars are touching. And what's going to happen is that your data is going to be in what's called classes, which are like ranges of data, and you just count how many numbers fall into each of these ranges and then just graph them up onto your y-axis. So this is what a histogram looks like. Okay, so really similar, but the bars are touching and you're grouped in classes, which means like the yellow one is how many, so this is the weights of 100 newborn babies. So the yellow one is how many babies were between 4 and 5 pounds. Okay, so that looks like 2 babies were between 4 and 5 pounds. Then the pink is how many were between 5 and 6, so 13. Okay, you can see very clearly that most babies were between 7 and 8 pounds, all the way up to 30 of them, and there was only one that was between 11 and 12. So it's just the frequency in each of those categories, how many things or people or whatever you're talking about fell into each of those ranges or classes. Okay, so your classes are what's down here, like 4 to 5 was a class, then 5 to 6 was a class, so on and so forth. Okay, so this is already done for you. We're going to do it kind of in steps. The table has been made with the classes already. So the temperatures of the days are the classes. So the days between 40 and 50, the days between 51 and 61, so on and so forth. So these are your classes, and then these are your frequencies. The days are your frequencies. Okay, so there were 2 days that were between 40 and 50 degrees. There were 4 days that were between 51 and 61, so on and so forth. And then the graph has already been made for you, so all we have to do is we just have to take these bars up to our frequencies. Okay, so our first frequency from 40 to 50 is 2. Oops, that was bad. So from 40 to 50, I go up to 2. Okay. Then you can change colors if you want. You don't have to do every bar in a different color. 51 and 61 is 4. So I take it up to 4. Okay. And the next one is 7. Oh, the thing only goes up to 6. Oops. So a little over 6. It's going to be 7. And then the last one is only 1. So you just kind of barely go up. The biggest thing is just make sure your bars are touching. That's what separates histograms and bar graphs. And it makes sense because the classes run right into each other, right? So if it's not 50 degrees, then it has to be in the 51 degree category. So it just falls into that other category. And then that's it. That's your histogram. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we are given the classes, but we have to find the frequencies first, and then we're going to make our histogram. So we're just building. We're just doing a little bit more each time. So 50 to 55. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3. I think that's it. Okay, so there were 3 in that category. 56 to 61. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just counting how many fall into each grouping. 62 to 67, so 1. Oops, I missed the 61 last time, so that makes this a 5. Sorry. Okay, 62 to 67. 1, 2, 3, 4. 68 to 73. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 74 to 79, there's only one. Okay? And then the graph's made for you, so all you have to do is do your frequencies up to each number. So the first one's 3. I'm just being picky and making these boxes. You don't have to make it that particular. And the next grouping is 5. And then we are at 4. And 5 again. Oops. And then the last one is 1. Oops, I made a square. Bars are touching. Go up to your frequency. Once you know what the frequency is, you just count for each of them. And then you can see kind of the most was tied at 5 between those two. The least was very clearly that last grouping. Okay, you can see most of the data is chunked towards the beginning. All right, the last thing, we are going to make the classes ourselves. So these groupings have been made for us so far. We are now going to make them ourselves. So if you're given data, you can split into classes, creating your frequency histogram from there. So the way that you find your classes is you take the maximum number, so your biggest number, subtract your smallest number, your minimum, and then divide it by the number of classes. This number of classes will be given to you. You'll be told how many groups to split it up into, okay? You just had to find the maximum and the minimum, and then I'll tell you how many classes to split it up into. And then you always round up, okay? So round up to the nearest whole number so that you make sure you're getting all your data in there. Don't just don't round normally. This isn't a normal rounding. So if you even get like 3.1, round it up to 4, okay? So always round up. So we have our numbers, but we do not have our classes. If you notice here, this is empty, so we have to fill that in with our ranges of our data. So we have to find the maximum and the minimum. And the maximum is 74, and the minimum is 59. So I'm going to subtract those two. So I do 74 minus 59, and then I have to divide it by the number of classes. And it says right here to split the data into 4 classes. So I'm going to divide by 4. So 74 minus 59 is 15. 15 divided by 4 is 3.75. Okay, I just told you to always round up regardless, so we're going to say that is 4. Okay, so maximum minus the minimum divided by the number of classes, always rounded up. Now, this is where it gets just a little tricky. You just have to pay attention. You always obviously start your first class with your smallest number, which we already found was 59. Okay. But you do not add 4 to 59 and put it over here. You add 4 to 59 and put it down as your next starting point of your next class. So we're going to add 4. You add it down. Okay, so 59 plus 4 gives us 63. Add 4 down again. So add 4, 63 plus 4 is 67. And add forward one more time, and then that puts our last lower limit at 71. Okay, now your upper limits, so where these classes end, just have to be one before the other one starts. So if my second class starts at 63, then this one has to end at 62. And then I can see from 59 to 62, I just added 3. So it's just one less than your width, okay? So I just added 3 over, so then this one's going to be 66 because the next one starts at 67. Then I'm at 70, and then the last one is going to be 74, okay? Once you know that, then you just count your frequencies like we did before. So I'm going to have you finish this one out on your own, okay? So count your frequencies, how many numbers fall into each of those classes, and then you are going to make your own histogram over here. Make sure you put your tick marks on this side, however many you need to fit all of your frequencies, and then your x-axis is going to just span your data. So you're just going to go from 59 to 62, and then whatever your next upper limit is, which I think is 66. Okay, so you're gonna make it prettier than that, but you're gonna go ahead and make your own x and y axis with the heights and the frequencies, and then make your own histogram. When you are done, turn those notes in, and then you're gonna do worksheet 12.2.